Children of all ages sound like the circus or something like that. But anyways, this is Just Knowing Sports Show. You know the location, you know the channel, the tune, all that. Google and Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast, all over the socials. The Just Knowing Sports Show.
Yo.
Yes, sir. Got Doc Jones, the producer, Coach DJ King Dre, the man of many. What's that? The verbs, adjectives. Well, he got so many nicknames, man. We just call him Dre, man. M. Greasy the Don, Juiceman, the Boogie with the clips and with the highlights and the studious commentary, and Big E back in the thing with us, man. He's still representing the Dallas Cowboys.
Always.
He's still representing after that heartbreaking, agonizing, crushing, excruciating, blood pressure driven
27 years and counting. 27 years and counting.
Hey man, I'm glad y'all love my team that much to always want to talk about them. Y'all keep us relevant even when we're not. So
no, man.
I'm hating till the casket drop.
Yes, sir. But it's a pleasure, man, to have the fellas back again, man. And we're gonna jump right on into this thing. But we're gonna do a little different here, man. We're gonna play a little game called Hired or Fired.
Oh, baby.
And what it is I'm gonna ask some sports questions, just like situation, just knowing the situation, knowing your opponent, things like that about different sports. And me and Greasy asked a couple of questions to, the members of the cast, and me and Greasy will make a decision whether you're hired or fired. So I'm feeling real King Dre right now because I know, number one, he's very stubborn and bullheaded, and he don't like to listen. So I'm going to go with it like this. Fourth quarter of the NFC Championship, and the opposing quarterback, Dan Marino, is lighting your defense up. You have 3 number 1 wide receivers, and you can't generate any pressure with your front four. Do you blitz all out nano and just you got to get him off the spot, or do you continue to sit back and play conservative, or do you come with a combination of like a man zone blitz, or make some substitutions to get more pass rush?
So who you asking this question to?
You.
Oh, you already know what the hell I'm about to say. It's Blitzburg, baby. I'll be damn I sit back and they just stand here and pick me apart. I'm gonna roll. If I'm gonna go out fighting, if I'm gonna go out, we're gonna go out swinging, baby. I'm gonna blitz your ass, and it's coming. It's heat coming.
So but you can't hold up on the outside. Like, you don't have the cornerback play to really just be blitzing like that, man.
Well, listen, we damned if we do, we damned if we don't. Hell, they can't stop them. We in man prevent. We in 2 safety high, cover 2, deep third. It don't matter what we in. We still getting beat. Might as well blitz.
All right.
Hell yeah, I send linebacker blitzes. I run out kind of anything.
I like the aggressiveness. Excuse me, not to let the quarterback sit back there all day like a statue. No. But at the end of the day, I think you'll have your walking papers very shortly after the ball game.
I probably would.
I'm gonna have to go with King Dre. You're fired. What about it, Greasy?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to piggyback off of that one, bro. I mean, at least you could have said, "Yeah, I'm gonna give him some different looks or something."
I did. I said cover 2, deep thirds, man zone. Hell, it don't matter what we in. We still getting beat.
Yeah, bro, you fired.
If y'all gonna fire me, man, how y'all gonna make me lose my job?
You are definitely fired.
Listen, so y'all saying right
you
now.
With the Ed Reed.
Ed Reed.
Should have cleaned out. Should have cleaned my office, fellas, and then we probably would have had a better chance of getting some plays drawn up. But now, all seriously,
D coordinator for the Jets. Raiders won on last second bomb down the field to Henry Ruggs. Called a zero blitz. Meaning everybody coming. So you got one-on-ones, and it was just, hey, just throw it up, let Ruggs run under it.
And see what happens. So with that being said, we're gonna steal a little bit off the page of Around the Horn. Dre, you're fired, so you're muted for the remainder of this segment. and moving right along, I'm gonna go right at Big E, man. We might as well go and initiate him. He's a nice addition to the show. He's bringing that good commentary. He's a pro at this thing. But Big E, you're coaching the Georgetown Hoyas. You're in the Elite Eight.
Mm-hmm.
Got the number 2 seed. Got the number 2 seed in the East.
Okay.
And you're facing a prime Kobe Bryant at 19 years old, the nation's leading scorer, lining up, and he's playing for, let's just say he went to Duke. And he's the nation's leading scorer. He's averaging 34.2 points a game, and you know, your job is on the line. You've been underachieving, and you got a chance to make it to the Final Four, and you played Kobe Bryant. And right out the bat, in the first 6-7 minutes, he's 9 for 12, and he got 20 points on you already. And you call a timeout because you're down 6 or 7 points, just like that. Do you, A, step up the pressure on the point guard to try to continue to try to get the ball out of his hands, make them, you know, get some turnovers so they can't even set up the offense to get the ball to Kobe? Or B, would you go to a Rick Majerus gimmick like a diamond in 2 or a triangle in 2 or a diamond in 1? Or are you going to just let Kobe continue to shoot and maybe make the rest of the team beat you? What you going with?
I think if he's hot like that, man, you're gonna have to make probably a few adjustments. So it works best, to be honest with you. I mean, he coming out lighting up 20 points. I'm thinking, and we only down 6 or 7. We in this thing,
okay.
You know. So I'll probably get the ball out the point guard's hands, make it hard to get it to Kobe. You know what I'm saying? Make him have to be the one to make the primary decisions. We know he's gonna shoot, so as long as we guard up on everybody else, you know, I think we're gonna be good to go.
Okay. What you think about it, Grizz? What you think about that answer?
You said Kobe Bryant, right?
Prime Kobe Bryant, nation's leading scorer, 34 and a half.
He wasn't even prime at 19. He was shooting air balls against Utah in 19.
Didn't the Toronto Raptors try that?
Yeah, they do. They do.
You fired.
Ain't going Big E. Fine. I'm gonna go Big E.
You can't let Kobe shoot like that, man. He gonna kill you.
I'm gonna have to say Big E gave some. That was pretty logical. He said, "Okay, if the man started off 9 for 12 and he got 20 already, you're down 6 or 7. He's still in it. No need to panic. No need to nano blitz and go crazy like King Dre. He just said, let's just play it course, and maybe somebody else will, you know, turn the ball over, and at the end of the ball game, you know, maybe you can get somebody
on the weakest link.
Yeah, maybe you can get one of those weaker. Maybe you can get the ashy, rough rebounding power forward at the free throw line with 35 seconds left, and he missed both of them, and you didn't eliminate it, Kobe. And Coach Jackson is on his way to the Final Four with the Georgetown Hoyas. Big E, we're gonna keep you around, man. Let's bring Dre back, man. We muted him long enough.
Check this out. And Coach Jackson gonna be on the wrong side of history.
I'm gonna have to go and say,
all right,
you fine, bro. I'm gonna have to agree with old Greasy. I gotta agree with old Greasy. Done. We watched the Raptors let Kobe shoot and let everybody else. Yeah, you seen what that was? 81 points later.
All right, I want to give Juiceman. I want to give Juiceman a little bit of a different question.
Juice already fired.
He's an avid Pittsburgh Steelers fan, and let's just say it's week 16 of the NFL season in Baltimore. Number 1 seed in the entire AFC is on the line. You look across the field and you see Suggs, you see Ray Lewis, you see Ed Reed, Peter Bolwell, you know, all those guys, man. Bernard Pollard, and you're quarterbacking the Steelers. And Jerome Bettis is out with a bruised hamstring. He took a devastating lick from Suggs and Lewis, so he's no longer a factor in the game. Hines Ward has got a concussion. He got hit. So you don't have your running back and you don't have your top wide receiver. And it's 4th and 6. And, you know, for all intents and purposes, the winner of this game is going to host, you know, the AFC Championship. So let's just say it's 4th and 6. Tomlin calls in a play, but you notice Reed is creeping to the side, creeping up towards the line of scrimmage. You have your wide receiver. You have a Plexico Burris or Antonio Brown one-on-one with McAllister or, any of those guys that they had at that time. Do you, A, listen to Tomlin, B, improvise, C, change the play at the line of scrimmage to do whatever you want to do?
Oh, man. Wow. Well, I mean, you am I the quarterback?
Yes, you are the quarterback. Yes, you are the quarterback.
Okay, well, if I see Ed Reed creeping up to the line of scrimmage, I mean, he's leaving his spot. So I would change the play and go where that spot where there's nobody at that spot. I'd read the defense and go for it.
Yep.
So you think so you're saying if you see Ed Reed creeping towards the line of scrimmage, that middle third is basically going to be open. And you're gonna take your shot with an Antonio Brown or one of your favorite receivers on the outside to where Reed vacated since he's creeping toward the line of scrimmage.
The reason I say that because we know who Ed Reed is. He's a ball hawk, and so he's known for roaming in the middle of the field and taking those quick slants away. But now that he's moving up to the line of scrimmage, like, he's leaving that spot open. So I would look to see if I can get it down the middle of the field.
What you think about it?
Before you say something, Doc, before you hire or fire him,
go ahead.
I just want to remind you of one thing. Your number one receiver, Hines Ward, is not on the field, and your running back is not on the field. You said it was 4th down and 6.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, but he said Antonio Brown, AB, and Plexico. You know
they young. These they young though. They ain't the ones we thinking of right now. Not everybody.
Wait, what you mean? What you mean?
If Hines is there, Hines was the guy.
Right?
I don't think he was
it's 4th and 6. In my head, I'm going, do you really think Ed Reed's about to blitz right now on 4th and 6 and you don't got no running game back there?
Well, I would think he would blitz if I ain't got no running game.
Well, at least you know you got one-on-ones on the outside.
Exactly.
Well, just based.
Well, you listen to Ed Reed.
Well, just
4th and 6. We know you ain't running the ball.
Well, just based off situational awareness alone, and if King Drake wouldn't have helped him, Juice would be an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season. Because he just pointed out that your running back is gone. So
your running back gone, bro.
He's gone. So you're not gonna run it.
Not gonna run the ball. So why are we gonna blitz the safety?
I take it you haven't been in the film room because Belichick actually it was Peyton Manning said in the same situation, Ed Reed creeped up to the line of scrimmage and he thought, okay, I got Reggie Wayne on this deep post or whatever. I know it's gonna work. And he saw the same thing you saw. Ed Reed creeping up to the line of scrimmage. You know what Ed Reed did? As soon as he said hike, he took out running full speed toward the middle third of the field, and Peyton threw it up there because he assumed he had one-on-one Reggie Wayne. And guess what happened?
Picked off.
Ed Reed picked it off. So with that being said, Juice, you just lost your starting position. Going into the next season, but not still in
the game. Man. That was an excellent question, though.
Yeah, the giveaway was you didn't have your starting running back, and it was 4th and 6.
Man, look at here.
Why am I blitzing my safety though? On 4th and 6, they passing the ball for a fact. It's a pass. They ain't running the ball on 4th and 6 with a nobody back there.
Hey, you could do a spread and run. He can do all the creeping he wants. You spread. You got to respect the spread. You can't leave nobody wide open because now we're gonna switch it to something else.
You're right. I can't even lie to that.
Well, Juice, it looks like we'll be drafting your replacement, and we're in the film room looking for the next up and coming. But I thought I'd just throw that in there, man. We just switch it up a little bit, man. Just kind of see where everybody is mentally in some of these situations, man. We all like to talk sports and get down, but nonetheless, man, we down to the Final Four in the NFL, man. What y'all think about those games over the weekend? Let's get some. I know Greasy them did the wrap up last night. We don't want to spend too much time on that, but just real quick thoughts on what we saw.
I think the best teams prevailed.
Buffalo was what they were all season. They limped into the playoffs, and we saw it.
Yeah.
I know I'm a huge Josh Allen fan, but I mean, hey, it was what it was. They didn't have it.
I think Buffalo ran out of gas, and they were emotionally spent, and that caused them to, make mistakes, and I think we underestimated how for real the Bengals are.
Their defense.
Bengals are for real.
Yeah,
I think we have the four best teams in. We knew Kansas City. They went wire to wire. Since it came on late, well, not really late.
They won like 10 straight.
They didn't have the greatest start.
Yeah. Exactly.
They didn't have the greatest start.
So they really kicked in that second quarter of the season, games 4 through 8. That's when they got that thing rolling and kept it rolling. And then Philadelphia, same thing, wire to wire. And Frisco, same thing. They came in that late first quarter of the season, and they just kicked it. So I think we got the 4 best teams. Too many injuries with Buffalo. Dallas, I said this last night, they beat up on lesser opponents, which is not the issue, because they're going out there and they're handling their business. The problem is they can't beat the big dogs. They can't get with them. And so that's been the skill all season.
I think they proved that they can hang with the big dogs. The problem is that the play calling from an offensive standpoint, they didn't have a pivot from Pollard is the thing that I think was wrong. And that to me falls on Kellen Moore. You know what I mean? I can't even put the blame on Mike McCarthy because he had his OC chosen for him. You know what I'm saying? So I put that on Kellen Moore. And at the end of the day, I mean, Dre, you over there talking about you a Josh Allen fan, but you sitting up there giving smoke to my boy Dak. I don't know what that's all about, but they both pretty much did the same thing. They laid an egg when in crucial moments. So
I'm not going to deny that, but the problem here is Dak really hasn't ascended. Has he? Do you think he's ascended?
I think he has
to this great quarterback.
I think he came in exceeding expectations, so now the expectations stay high for him.
Exactly.
You see what I'm saying? So
I mean,
he was 13-3 in his first season.
They paid
any quarterback's gonna get paid.
Though they
pay,
any
quarterback's gonna get paid though. I mean, Josh Allen make more than him. Has he exceeded expectations?
I think
he's done way better than what people anticipated.
I don't think so. Josh Allen was a first round pick. Yeah, but they're gonna break him off. They got to.
Oh yeah.
They ain't gonna let him go. Same thing happened with Dak. Their problem, the problem that happened with Dak, in my opinion, and I know we're trying to move on, but I just state this real quick. Jerry Jones waited too late to sign Dak. He should have signed Dak sooner. And that way, right now, if it is an issue of Dak, he can move on from Dak, no problem. But he can't really do that right now unless he trades. And if he's trading, then he's bringing in somebody that's a high-dollar quarterback as well, too. So he's kind of he boxed himself in a position where he's stuck, in my opinion. But I don't think Dak is necessarily the issue. I think the issue is you got to let your head coach put their people in place. And I don't think he gave him the opportunity to do that from the offensive side of the ball.
I think what we saw really quick in the AFC, I think Cincinnati is the most physical team in the AFC, and it's not really even close. So that's pretty much why they took Buffalo behind the barn and did what they had to do. Everything with this, with Kansas City and the upcoming game, which we're going to break down here in just a second, is going to have to do with the ankle of Patrick Mahomes. And I'm going to leave that at that. Big E hit on a good point. That's Kellen Moore. And I said this time and time again. I think Dak is limited. I'm not a Dak hater. I think he's limited in what he can do. I've seen worse quarterbacks win, and I think Dak is probably as good as he's gonna on a scale. Like if I was giving the grades out between 1 and 100, I would give Dak about an 87 or 88. And I think that's fair. I think he has to have the pieces around him. Mm-hmm. They definitely need another wide receiver, and they need to build. Zeke is a wash, man. And I hate to say it, but it's over. But with a situation like that, the defense played lights out. I mean, the defense played lights out. I do want to point out one thing before we wrap this up and move on into the actual breakdown and what we think is going to happen. I did notice that they didn't really call the plays to get Dak in the best position, to get him on some, rollout, bootleg type things, because the lanes were there, and you saw him take advantage of that a couple of times, but I think that could have been a bigger part of their offense. So that's on Kellen Moore to draw up something or have a contingency plan if Tony Pollard goes out. Dallas needs another running back. And Tank, I think we saw him. He made a few plays in the first half, and I think that was about the end of him. I think he got banged up a little bit, but at this point in the season, everybody's a little sore, got bumps and bruises. I noticed in the first quarter, we got Parsons against Trent Williams. That's what we want to see, all pro versus all pro, right? We want to see that. Mm-hmm. Now, all bias aside, everybody knows I think Michael Parsons is the truth. And nobody moves Trent Williams. But Parsons was generating some pressure. And a couple times he wasn't manhandling Trent Williams, but he made him think for just a second. And they would loop and they would stunt, and Lawrence would come around, and they kind of had Purdy like, Purdy didn't look like Dan Marino 84. Purdy kind of looked like, okay, what's going on for a minute there? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Shanahan was exclusively trying to pass out of that situation. Why Shanahan didn't lean on the run game earlier with Mitchell and McCaffrey is beyond me. I don't understand why. But in the second half, Parsons got a flip. He was either at the Mike position or he was at the opposing defensive end position away from Williams. I guess they didn't want to run him into him all game. And then that's when Shanahan stepped it up on the run game, had some triple tight ends, had some double tight end things going out. And I think Shanahan, he did a good job with that. And I think that's an excellent transition into the NFC Championship game. The 49ers and Eagles, I'm going to go with the 49ers on this one. And I'm going to go with the 49ers because they're a veteran team. They're playing with house money. If they go out there and they get beat 58-3, it doesn't matter because Brock Purdy is Mr. Irrelevant, right? And he's basically gotten them just as far as Jimmy G. Now, X's and O's, I think these teams match up pretty well. I think it's a pick 'em. We haven't heard too much about Jalen Hurts' shoulder. I think maybe they're trying to keep something under wrap, and I don't blame them. You don't want to go out there and tell, that your star quarterback is hurt. I think Dallas was a little bit better against the run than Philly. I know Jordan Davis is coming back. I think if Shanahan just goes out there and just doesn't try to get ahead of himself and let the game come to Purdy and play old school physical football and keep the game close, we'll see if Philly's going to make the choke and Philly's going to fumble this thing away. San Francisco is playing with house money. I think the pressure is on Philadelphia, and you got to remember, San Francisco was a dropped Jaquiski Tart interception away from beating the Rams last year on the road. With that being said, I'm going to go Frisco with this one. I'm going to go Frisco, and I think they get this one done. I think both teams are pretty much, you don't want to get in a third and long situation because their pass rushers are equally the same when they were the value. But I think big game situations, you got to remember, Bosa's been in the Super Bowl. Trent Williams has been in the Super Bowl. Debo's been in the Super Bowl. Debo's been in the conference championship. Bosa, Williams, a lot of these guys have been there. Philly, A.J. Brown ain't been nowhere. Devontae Smith ain't been nowhere. You know what I'm saying? This is all brand new. I'm going to jump on up off this game real quick. I'm going to go San Francisco 27. I'm going to go Eagles 20. I think 49ers get a late turnover, and they saw this thing away, and they on their way to the Super Bowl. I picked them at the beginning of the year to end up there against Baltimore, so I didn't know you see me jumping off of it right now. Give me the 49ers about 7. I got it. I'm going to ride with that.
Y'all know how I feel, man. It's been bang bang Niner gang for me for a while. Ever since last year, especially. They do have the best defense. Philadelphia doesn't have a bad defense, And at this point, I did pick the 49ers to get and be where they are. But something is telling me that the Philadelphia Eagles are going to pull this game out. They're going to squeak the game out. Ooh, man, I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I want to go against my Niners, man. But I think I'm gonna have to ride with the Philadelphia Eagles. Purdy's run is going to be over. And, before I give my numbers, I'm just going to say this. I really believe, San Francisco has a problem because Doc's boy, they got, he ain't been on the field. He hasn't been able to produce. And here's Purdy. We got a guy that's taken over and he's led us. So now you're going to pay Trey all this bread to sit on the bench behind Mr. Irrelevant. That's a tough situation to be in right now. But with that being said, I'm going to take the Philadelphia Eagles 28-24. Oh, that's
go ahead, Greasy. You go ahead.
I'm gonna let y'all. I'm gonna go last.
Well, you got it, Big E?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Go ahead, man.
So I think San Fran's little run's gonna come to an end. I hate to be on the same side as Dre, picking the NFC East. But I got to get my feelings out of it, especially with all that Cowboy hate he talk. But I can't shy away from the NFC East. You know what I mean? I think we've proven to be the strongest conference this year, and I think we're gonna do more of the same. I think Jalen Hurts is focused. He's a machine. He has got all the weapons he needs to really make an impact in the game. I don't feel like it's going to be a high-scoring game, though. I feel like it's going to be rather low-scoring. I'm thinking, well, not low-scoring, but I say I'm thinking Philly 23, San Fran 19.
Well, I think both these teams are, really evenly matched. I think we're going to have a similar type game from last week with as far as how the Dallas defense looks against the 49ers. I think we're going to see the same with the Eagles defense. And I also think it's going to come down to who has a better numbers on the ground. The Eagles, they're only allowing 125 yards rushing in the last 3 games, and they're ranked 16th. While the Niners, they're only allowing 80 yards a game in the last 3 games, and they're ranked 2nd. So something's got to give. I think it's going to come down to who can run it the best. We know Jalen Hurts, he's a dual threat, while Brock Purdy, he's been able to manage the game, but I think his run is going to come to an end. So I got the Eagles winning it at home, 33-27.
That's a lot of points, Juice.
That's a lot of points, Juice. Yeah, that's a lot of points.
33. He ain't putting no respect on the Niners. Well, no, the 49ers were my preseason pick, after coming up short last year in the NFC Championship game. This is, well, as I know of, this is going to be their second time traveling for a championship game. I like the 49ers defense. If you can't run the ball, and you just forcing Hurts to throw, this team isn't invincible. Period. Mm-hmm. And you can't run on that 49ers defense. You can't run on it. It's not going to happen. Jalen Hurts, he going to have to put the ball up. He's going to have to use Brown. And I seen his former Bama teammate make a crucial drop last week on the side. I'm not going to even get into all that. On the flip side, Philadelphia, we speaking of the NFC East, the Giants, they don't have a strong offense. Come on. We just saw that. Washington, seriously, Dallas is the only team which they showed that can put up points. And when Philly plays teams that can put up some points, they're going to put up some points. And this 49er team could generate some points. Last week, not that many. They should have set a ceiling for them 2 field goals in the beginning. It should have been 2 touchdowns, or at least a touchdown and a field goal. But anyway, I think it's going to still be low scoring. I like the 49ers in this game. I'm going to go with 14-10. 49ers.
Low scoring. I think a big factor too before we move on to Kansas City and Cincinnati is that the weather is looking like it's probably going to be about 50 degrees. And 50 degrees in January in Philadelphia, I mean, I think if you're a road team, you take that. And especially if you're constructed like the 49ers, again, I keep pointing back to it, 90s old school football, they traveled. I mean, for crying out loud, they beat Green Bay.
What did I tell y'all last year?
Yeah, they beat Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers, and it was freezing cold and everything else, and they threw the ball 8 times and they still beat them. So it's a reason the 49ers are always there. And they're like, man, these dudes didn't got hot again. Yeah, these dudes didn't got hot again. What's this? This is their 3rd Super Bowl run in 4 years? It's a reason. And I think in this particular ball game, before we move on, that experience has got to count for something. And if it's San Francisco, like I said, if you go out there and you get beat 58-3, you have Mr. Irrelevant. So that's that. Moving on.
Like excuses to me.
So moving on to the AFC Championship game. Man, Cincinnati is the most physical team in the AFC, and it's not really even close. Here's the dilemma, and it kind of goes back to the question I asked King Dre, and I kind of want to see what he was thinking because I think this is what Kansas City's going to see. In Higgins, Chase, and Boyd, you basically have 3 number 1 wide receivers. That's my opinion. And then you have Joe Mixon. So if you come out in 31 personnel, which is 3 wide receivers and a single back, that's going to leave room for Mixon. And Cincinnati is being the most physical team. They're the best running team. Top 5 running back in the league this year, Joe Mixon. And I know Spags likes to bring some blitzes, and he's preaching the same thing Dre was preaching. Let's just get after it. Well, in this particular situation, that would be a nightmare. That would be a mistake because I see a whole bunch of Gritty. I see a whole bunch of Mixon, and I don't see the pass rushers outside of Chris Jones just to be able to exploit and get after Burrow. And they've beaten Kansas City 3 times in a row. It's really a pick'em game. But I'm liking how Cincinnati just kind of weathered the storm when Baltimore started off and was losing all those games when they should have really sold up the division by week 8. But they kept blowing leads, and Cincinnati was just kind of like, we'll just hang around and we'll do the same thing again this year. Cincinnati is a very confident team. They're confident they can beat Kansas City. There's no fear. And the question is Patrick Mahomes' ankle. Haven't heard too much about it. I ain't gonna lie. I haven't really just researched what's going on. But it looked like that was a pretty nasty high ankle sprain, and it could, limit his mobility a little bit. But just the simple fact that I think Cincinnati is the most physical team and those wide receivers and Mixon, I don't see Kansas City being able to stop them enough. And Cincinnati can control the line of scrimmage and control the time of possession, which Buffalo was not able to do, which is why they lost. You got to run the ball more than 11 times in the snow, in January, in Buffalo, in a home playoff game. You got to run it more than that. With that being said, I think if Cincinnati can put together some of those drives, old school Parcells 90 drives, where you get 2 or 3 first downs and get a touchdown and you look up in 8 minutes going up off the quarter, you shorten that game, you can get up out of there. You can get up out of there and you can make some things happen. I'm going to go Cincinnati in this one, even though it's a picking game. I think it's going to be some points, and I think it's going to be a lot of points. I'm not going to go crazy, but I think Cincinnati pulls it off. I'm going to give Cincinnati 31. I'm going to give the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes 27. Patrick, you can't go to Super Bowl every year. I mean, it is what it is. Give me the Bengals in this one. I like the Bengals. They're playing the best ball. They're the most physical team in the AFC.
Blitz, and more blitz. If I'm the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm sending the house on the very first play of the game. I want to send a message. We don't listen. If y'all think that man ankle is right, if you think it's 100%, you crazy. So with that being said, we know they're not gonna tell us the truth. We're gonna find out for ourselves. Go get him. Remember the Titans. We will blitz every down. They better not get a first down. You will come out the game if they get a first down. We are going to blitz. Candlestick 97 blitz, Doc. That's what it's going to be. And with that being said, I'm saying 35-28. Give me Cincinnati.
Man, it's crazy that this team has beaten Mahomes and the Chiefs 3 times. I mean, Joe Burrow, he's just surgical in how he approaches the game.
Tigers.
And so with Mahomes, having one leg pretty much, I'm with you guys, man. I just think the Bengals are well balanced, and their defense is going to take advantage of Mahomes' injury. So I got the Bengals winning it in Arrowhead. I got a score 30-20.
Yeah, I echo the same sentiments, man. I don't think that they trying to make it seem like Mahomes' ankle is all good. I saw him walking around, no boot, none of that stuff today. But I mean, that was an ugly injury, man. It could have been easily just like Pollard's. So, with that, I think it's going to be a high ankle sprain, and he might be fine to start the game. But with that pressure coming his way, I know Cincinnati's going to dial up. I think it's going to have him moving off the spot, and it's going to get sore real quick. So with that being said, man, I think I'm a Joe Cool fan, man. He proved something to me last year. I seen that viral video he's got going around on Instagram and, all the other social media sites where he throws the ball and spins around. I don't know if y'all seen that, but that boy Joe Cool, he got something for them boys, man. I think it's going to be a Bengals victory with ease. I say 35-20.
Okay. Oh, well, I told nephew the Chiefs will not make it back to Nail Nutter Super Bowl. And I think after this game is over, it's not going to be about Patrick Mahomes' ankle. The question is going to be what happened. And just like last year, it's going to be what happened. Every year in this conference championship game, conference championship Sunday, you get a tight game and somebody get punched in the mouth. Just like last year, Cincinnati punched Kansas City in the mouth. And on the other side, the Rams in the Niner game was close. And this is going to be the punch in the mouth game. Like I said, it's going to be a lot of head scratching. It's going to be a lot of what if you guys had Tyreek type thing? Maybe you should have paid it. This and that type ordeal. Give me the Bengals 26. Give me the Chiefs 6. Real talk.
20.
It's going to be a lot of questions after this game.
Wow.
Man.
Wow.
It's going to be a punch in the mouth game.
He scored more points with Chad Henne last week.
Greasy. Would that be a little Raider in you that gave him 6 points?
I picked Cincinnati last year, and y'all picked Kansas.
I'm saying that gave him only 6 points, though. 6.
There's going to be a lot of questions, man.
For Mr. Not the $1 million man, but Mr. 500 million.
I mean, look, we already talked about, with a high ankle sprain, it might as well be broke. That's how much pain you in. It might well be broke.
Man, they're going to shoot that boy up on the sideline. He gets shot up before the game because them niggas going to hit that ankle well before he gets
based on new NFL protocols, I don't think you can't do too much shooting up no more.
Hey, listen here. We don't know what he's doing right now, do we?
I hope he's ice and heat.
You know
what's great, man? You're right. That ain't you right. The 6 points. All right, make it 26-9. Make it 26-9. Okay, give him 3 more points. 26-9.
Now, hey, look, don't make it 10.
And they're gonna get 6. They're gonna score a touchdown, but they're gonna try to, they're gonna get that. They're gonna hit a field goal first, but they're gonna be down by so much. They're gonna be like, well, let's go for 2. The 2-point conversion ain't gonna be successful, so they're gonna be stuck on 9. There you go.
Well, like I said, after first play of the game, I'm blitzing. I wouldn't give a damn what they call. We gonna blitz. We finna send a message immediately. We ain't having it today, buddy. Blitz.
And I think we get our third Cincinnati-Frisco matchup in history. We get number 3. Now, will they win?
That means if that happens, the Bengals will be 0-3.
Well, I will say this: teams that have lost their first 2 Super Bowls. No. Teams that have lost their their first 3 Super Bowls, they didn't fare too well in the 4th one. They still sitting on don't. Well, they eventually go 0-4 in the likes of the Vikings, the Broncos, the Bills. It happens. It happens, so they, the Bengals, I ain't picking them to winning. My overall pick this preseason when we had our show, I think Kinfolk was on the show. Big Kofi. Shout out to Big Kofi. And we was giving our picks. I think that's when the Trey Lance argument broke out.
Oh man, yeah, I remember that. That was very heated.
Boy. Hey, your boy in some more trouble,
man.
Yeah, your boy, he's in more trouble right now than he ever been in, Doc. But he got paid though. But
no, he's not really in trouble. Here's the deal: because injuries happen. But Jimmy G got to go. If anything, Trey Lance is a valuable backup.
Because he's gonna be an overpriced backup.
Because who's to say Brock Purdy don't go out there and get decapitated in week 6 next year, and then you done traded Purdy off? And,
why you got to get decapitated?
Or what if he get the same? Well, that's basically what Shanahan is known for, getting people hurt. I mean, he got Jimmy G hurt and Trey Lance run on a design run. So I mean, it's not like Purdy can't go out there and get hurt. So you just have to be ready. You have to be ready. Doug Williams won a Super Bowl, and Joe Gibbs found him at a Burger King, and he sat there, and he sat there, and he sat there. Just got to be ready. Stay ready. Don't get ready. It's not doom and gloom. You got to get this young man up out of here, and he's just a bust, and he didn't fail.
No, he's not going anywhere. But
he just got to go early.
Right now, he's about to sit on the bench even longer, and just imagine, how the front office feels like. We pay all this money for this guy. He's sitting on it.
Yeah, it was
Mr. Irrelevant.
Yeah, I mean it was.
Trey Lance is still on a rookie deal. He's not making no money.
Yeah, he's still on. Yeah, plus he's still on a rookie deal. He's not. It's the capital that they gave up. It's the draft picks that I think he's trying to get at. But
they moved up to get him.
Yeah, if it's Trey Lance, it's not doom and gloom. Just stay ready. Don't be in a situation like Michael Vick when he got out and went to Pittsburgh, and it was like, "You ready?" When somebody got hurt. No, I ain't even been reading my playbook. Man,
I think a lot of people are being prisoner of the moment when it comes to Brock Purdy. Like, we need to give it time. Like, he just came out of nowhere, and he's on a team that he doesn't have to do. He doesn't have to do a whole lot for the Niners to
be successful.
So we need to give it time.
We give it time, and then you just hope, if you're a 49ers fan, that this isn't one of those games where Shanahan tries to get too cute. And I think that was the difference between the 49ers winning and Dallas winning. I think Dallas didn't play to Dak's strengths, and Shanahan was just like, all right, they kind of got you a little bit rattled. You wasn't running around ice in your veins that first half, 2 or 3 touchdowns. They kind of look like they got a bead on you. So let's just get back to what we do,
Again, y'all know what another thing is? The 49ers, I don't know. I was going to say, it might have been a little jitters, a little rust or something, but they did play the previous week. But I think he'll be all right, man. If that Niner line can contain that Eagle D line, everything gonna be all right.
Both teams got good offensive lines. You got to remember Trent Williams All-Pro, McGinty's All-Pro. Then they got Banks, a couple of the young guys who played out all right. The big thing I think that helps San Francisco is that the original starting running back, Elijah Mitchell, is coming in and he's spelling McCaffrey. So they're deep.
Yeah,
they're deep. And I've said this before. If you actually look at the Shanahan wide zone scheme, who's the better runner in that particular scheme? It's Mitchell. McCaffrey's trying to figure it out. He got by a lot in Carolina with just him being a better talent. But as I always allude to, with that particular running scheme, None of those backs are a first-round Eric Dickerson, Bo Jackson type of back. And I think Mitchell fits it actually better. So if McCaffrey's getting bottled up, you go to Mitchell. And he's got 2-3 years in that system, and you see him get 50 yards in the second half of the divisional playoff game.
And I think the X factor is still Ayuk. It seems like every game, he just show up.
We're gonna see.
He makes a big play or catch, and
we're gonna see what Philadelphia is made of. I still honestly believe the pressure's on Philadelphia. They beat up on the Giants. The Giants weren't no good. The Giants
they had a good season.
They had a good season.
Yeah, I mean the Giants were a fluke, pick for them to have to go up against. But at the end of the day, I still think Philly has stood the test as far as being able to do it from wire to wire. As long as Jalen Hurts is in the game, I mean, what are they like 13-1, 14-1, something like that with him starting? So I think you got to let that play out and see what happens. I think he's got enough to give San Francisco fits. Mm. So, I mean, if I take out the Dak scenario with the Cowboys and know that Jalen's not going to make the same mistakes that Dak made, I don't feel like that'll happen with Jalen because he just doesn't turn the ball over. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens, but I think they got a strong running game. I know they got some down the field threats with Brown and Smith, and tight ends good too. So, I mean, they got weapons. It's not going to be an easy win for San Francisco, especially playing in Philly too. So,
Juiceman, what's the key matchup for this particular game?
I'd probably say Jalen Hurts and Fred Warner spying him.
Good pick. Hey, man, y'all been looking at that NBA, man?
Yeah.
Can somebody tell me what's going on with the West? Big E, I'm just not sold on Denver. You're going to have to sell me on Denver. You're going to have to sell me on Denver. I'm not sold on the
Denver's deep.
Coming out the West.
Denver's deep. I think they got, with them having Jokic, they got Murray back now. They added some nice wing defenders, 3-and-D guys with Caldwell Pope and Brown. I just think they're deep enough to be able to handle anything that comes their way. You know what I'm saying? It was the same thing that people were trying to say about the Clippers before and how deep they were. I think Denver, and same thing with Golden State and how deep they were. I think they have enough to definitely make something happen. Whether or not with this West being so close contested like it is right now, it still remains to be seen. But I still have them picked as to come out the West. But they don't want to see the Lakers in the first round. I know that.
I mean, for real. We talked about that Saturday. If y'all missed it, just know a sports show. If you
AD has returned.
Yeah, if you could just see the
how long is that gonna last?
And let's just say that AD is fully healthy, and he don't get hurt. If you the Nuggets, are you really like, oh yeah, we want to play LeBron James and Anthony
in the playoffs?
On the cool, they might try to slide down a spot.
Yeah, they might try to slide down the spot. And the Kings out there busting folks wide open, and it's like
the Kings are nice.
I think the Kings are
nice. Hey, they the New York Giants of the NBA. I mean, come on, man.
I can't say that, man. They got some weapons down there, man.
And we talked about the Warriors on Saturday's show. The NBA's still kicking the full stream, but the Warriors, they just look a mess on the road. Like I said, they did beat Cleveland, Donovan Mitchell and those boys. They beat them a couple nights ago, but it looks like if they met the Just Knowing Sports crew in Studio 5 somewhere down here in Texas, we could probably give them a run for their money. They just can't win. They just can't win on the road, and that at some point you're going to have to win some road games to win an NBA championship. I don't know what to make of that West. Usually there's like, okay, I remember when we was coming up, it was like, okay, you had the Kings, you had Wallace and Stoudemire, you have, of course, Kobe, and then you had Tim Duncan and David Robinson. So it was kind of like, okay, those four teams, one of them. But this year is just kind of like it's wide open. I think Denver by default, Big E, I'm going to have to pay more attention to him. I think Denver by default could possibly end up being just that team, But because the Clippers, they're inconsistent too. Like,
yeah, they definitely are, and they got all those injury concerns too. So that's why I got them out the mix. But
yeah, I thought they was going to do a little bit more. I think Kawhi Leonard knee is just really a problem. It's a chronic arthritic condition to where like it's like if he goes out there and he plays 82 for 2 more years, then we possibly will see the end of Kawhi Leonard. And he's trying to preserve himself, get as much check as he can for as long as he can, and make him have to carry him off the court. So I don't blame him, but that whole thing is just not going to work out. We already know what the Rockets and the Spurs doing. They tanking for Wembanyama, which I don't think is going to end up being the best player in the draft. King Dre asked a good question. Who do you want your team to draft? I'm a Rockets fan, no secret. Scoot Henderson's nice. I think we forgot about Mr. Amani Bates. And how, I don't know. Is it because of the unicorn over there in France? Amani scored 30 straight, like 29 or 30 straight points the other night. I think we forgot real quick how smooth and how effortless that dude is. I think for the Rockets, I think him and Jabari kind of have the similar role, 6'9", 6'10" shooter like KD Mo, so they kind of may bump heads. I personally wouldn't want him, but he could end up very well. Him or Scoot Henderson end up being the best player out of this year's draft. So if I was just a Rocket fan and we got some picks and somehow we was able to get 1, 2, 3, I would go with Scoot Henderson. I think he's a better fit, and I don't want Jabari and Bates bumping heads because I'm still a believer in Jabari Smith. I believe he's a walking 25 and 12 guy because it's a space and pace era. And once he grows into his body, he's only 19. Y'all chill out with these kids. He's only 19. Let him eat some greens and cornbread and let him feel into his body and let him learn the attrition that comes with the NBA. And I think he's a walking 25 and 10 guy. He can get that done with sleep. And he's better defensively than Banchero. I'm going to take that. I'm going to ride out with that.
Doc, being a Rockets fan myself, I'm going to say this. I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I honestly feel like the one position that's lacking in the NBA is a true center. And I really feel like the team that has a true center will bring it back to fold. So if the Rockets if we get us a true center, a guy that's going to be like an Olajuwon type player, Olajuwon, with a little bit of Shaq, we're gonna be all right.
But here's the thing. And I was listening to All the Smoke with Barnes and Jackson, and I think he had Jelani McCoy, ex-Bruin, on there. I think by default, the geeks are eliminating that Olajuwon back to the basket type of just get down there and stay down there because they can either double you and leave all these shooters open, or you just go for 40 and 20. I think they by default eliminated that because Embiid is probably the true one that you could be like, we finna dump this thing down to you 25, 30 times in the game, and nobody can stop you. But even with Embiid's game, he's lob and roll, he's crossing over, he's shooting threes. So I think the game is just paid.
Wow.
So it's just changed and it's space and pace now. And I don't
notice I said Olajuwon type player though.
I
used Olajuwon for a reason because Olajuwon can shoot the 15-foot jump shot.
What you got to remember,
move like a power forward in the center position.
You got to remember when Embiid was drafted, who was his comparison to? Olajuwon. He has the skills. I mean, he didn't take care of his body. He's Embiid is just naturally big bone. You see what I'm saying? He's just a naturally massive dude. So if he don't stay on that treadmill and he eat McDonald's, and he's not Dwight Howard. Remember how Dwight Howard used to just eat all this candy and stuff, and he was just naturally a physical just specimen? Embiid wasn't like that. So when Embiid was having those injuries, he would get out of shape, and he would try to play his way back in the shape during the season. And then by the end of the season, another knee give out, and he missed off season. You see what I'm saying? You can't do that as you get older. And so I think we lost some of his best years by waiting on him to get healthy. With that being said, I think they by default eliminated that back to the basket type of big man. I mean,
yeah,
I think I think if you had a player 7'1" and was just a physical specimen like a Shaq type of player, you know what they would do with today's NBA with Shaq? Pick and roll, Bob.
All day.
Bob, they would. I mean, even with that skill set, like I'm just gonna turn around and rip the stanchion down on you. You know what I'm saying? And just tear the glass. They wouldn't design very many plays for him. They put him in the pick and roll.
But don't you think that even though, I mean, I would think Shaq would still dominate because, I mean, you see post guys now, they don't know how to even post themselves. Like they don't know how to defend the post. You can just see it.
They wouldn't.
Would you think Shaq would just dominate?
The offenses that they run today, there's no more triangles. That offense is gone. There's no more triangle there's no more high post, low post. The stuff we was running high post, low post, that stuff gone, bro.
It's positionless basketball.
There you go. We're in the era
just running up and down the court, jacking up shots.
Yeah, we're in the era of positionless basketball. And if a coach, you know, I mean, the field, even the coaches that coach, they're gone. Like Popovich probably still remembers how to coach it. But even you can see his games. I mean, his game is gone more to space and pace. Kerr doesn't coach it. Spo doesn't coach it. You see what I'm saying? There's no Chuck Daly's. Pat Riley ain't coming down to coach none of that no time soon. And Phil Jackson up in Montana probably somewhere smoking some of the best kush. So you can kiss all that goodbye. Like, yeah, the Chuck Daly's and the Rudy T's and the Popovich, and the Jerry Sloans that coach that high post, they gone, bro. It's like it's a new analytic, and they just honestly believe if I have a Curry and a Thompson, no matter how many times you throw that ball in the post to Elijah One and Shaq, if I make 5 more threes per game than you, I'm gonna beat you. And so they don't coach that. So like I'm saying, I just honestly believe even if you had someone that came out and be like, this dude could really be the next Shaq if he just stayed in the post. You know, the first thing that the analytic, that geek is gonna do, he's gonna call that head coach, put him in pick and roll. And roll him to the goal. Throw that ball all game long.
It goes back to Bucks versus Suns. When Giannis wasn't in the paint, what was happening? When Giannis got in the paint, what happened? It was a wrap.
It was a wrap. That series
zero answer for him in the paint, and they won. They won.
That series should have never went 6 games. And I remember
should never even happen if we just.
I remember talking to people. I was like, y'all don't get confused by it being 2 new teams, and it's not the typical LeBron versus Warriors that this is good basketball. No, that was a horrible series to watch. That was one of the worst NBA finals I've ever seen. And by the graces of God, Giannis just kind of figured out, hey man, if I stay right here around 6 or 7 feet between me and the goal, they really can't stop me. And if he'd have done that from game 1 instead of waiting to game 4 to do it, it's been brooms.
Yeah.
And so that just goes to show you there's some geek and some analytic dude with a computer that's saying, let's spread Lopez out, let's spread Middleton out, and let's have Giannis go full court one-on-one like he's Magic Johnson, instead of just throwing him the freaking ball down there in the post so he can just turn around and just dunk on everybody all game. I don't understand it.
It's a hard sport to watch, honestly, for me.
It's a bad product. It is a bad product. Like you can.
I blame the NBA though. I blame the NBA because the NBA are allowing the college kids to, come out way too soon. They come out lacking the fundamentals, lacking the IQ that they need to have to play in the NBA. And I'm not saying these guys can't be NBA players, but the problem is they're coming in way too soon, and they don't come in with a skill set. They don't come in with the high IQ and a real understanding of playing this game. And now it's just more like I said, everybody's coming in. It's positionless basketball. It's run up and down and just jack threes the whole time. There's no defense. I mean, I saw a score the other day. It was like 134 to 128. Are you serious? Like, it means nobody played defense.
Nobody played defense no more.